Where to practice singing or screaming? The clip you're about to see is taken from a video called 5 things to consider before you start screaming. That video was made for extreme vocalists, but I think that this particular part can be helpful for clean vocalists too, and in general it will be just easier to find this information for anybody who wants to find it in the form of a separate video. I hope it will help someone. Enjoy watching.
The place you'll be practicing in. It's crucial to have a place where nobody can hear you, because you really want to feel freedom of doing weird noises and experimenting with your voice if you want to do extreme vocals. And even in the perfect environment, it's sometimes hard to catch the right sensation or find the proper position for making some scream. And if you're thinking all the time about other people hearing you or about you disturbing other people, it's not gonna work. And yeah, at some point you will become really loud and it will actually irritate other people. So you better find some good place for practicing, and here's my list of such places. A rehearsal room or some vocal booth is obviously the best option, but we all know what it costs, it takes time to commute, you need to adjust to a schedule of a rehearsal base. We understand that and we move on. A closet. Literally any closet with cloth. The advantage is acoustic isolation. The drawback, you'll be running out of air every now and then, and you'll have to open the door and ventilate it. So, not especially convenient option, but it might work for you perfectly. A car. With a car you have acoustic isolation, some sort of private space. You can even buy curtains so no one sees what faces you are making. On top of that, Alex Terrible was practicing in his parents' car when he was just starting out, so practicing extreme vocals in a car might be kinda legendary at this point. So try it out. Related to the previous one, garage. If you have your own private garage, great, go with it. If you don't, you can look up some options in your city. And availability of garages will hugely depend on the country that you live in. But I know for sure that in some places you can rent a garage for pretty cheap. The disadvantages of this option are, first, it's quite cold in some garages in winter, and the second, people who are passing by might wonder what the fuck are you doing there. But places with many garages are built for cars, not for people, so what's the problem? The next option on my list is renting a room or a flat with nice neighbors or good acoustic isolation. During my years of training, I was screaming in my dorm. A terrible place to live in, by the way. And my roommates were like, it's all good and everything, but bro, shut the fuck up please, we don't wanna hear you. But it wasn't actually a bad place for practicing, because if the majority of people is in university, then you have your empty dorm. And you can practice and scream as loud as you want. You just need to miss your lectures or something. I was also screaming in my rented rooms, and the first thing I have to mention is if you have a separate, huge or just long hallway, try practicing there. Because they're not gonna be neighbors hanging around on the floor above or below at the same place. Because the layout of your flat and their flats, it's gonna be similar pretty much. And people usually don't stay for too long in their hallways, so try it out. At some point I was renting a flat together with another vocalist, and we had just a roof above us, an illegal private kindergarten, and an empty flat next to it on the floor below, and on our floor we had just neighbors who didn't care at all. Now I'm living in a semi-basement with thick walls, nobody can hear me screaming, I can do whatever I want. So, when you're trying to choose a place to live and to scream, ask the owners of the places about neighbors. Is anybody gonna mind you screaming and making some weird noises? Are there any neighbors at all, because maybe there aren't? Is acoustic isolation good enough? Just remember, everything is possible, and if you're searching for a desirable place for long enough, eventually you will find what you need. Moving on from that, the pain is not okay, but with some exceptions and clarifications.